What is up, everybody, and welcome back to the Life Unlimited Coaching channel. This is Coach Kayla, and today I wanted to talk about something that came to me while I was exercising this morning, because I was watching baseball, it was just on the television at the gym, right? And a thought came over me, because, there were a lot of thoughts going, but then it kind of all tied together, because this guy gets up and the team's down by 2, and if he doesn't, it's like there's 2 outs, the team's down by 2, all he would have to do is hit a home run, and then they win the game, right? And it's the bottom of the ninth. And I was kind of going through some stuff with, the ebbs and flows of business and everything, and getting kind of frustrated I was having anxiety and frustration in business, right? And the thought hit me when I watched that guy hit the home run, where it was like, in order to hit home runs, you just need to get at bats. But in order to get at bats, you have to have the guts to step to the plate, right? And so I think of how many times I have had multiple conversations with the same person about jumping into our program, okay? And there's multiple people who have done our challenges, or they've participated in the free stuff that we do all the time, and they jump in the program for a minute and then they get out, or and not that our program is the end all be all and it's the only solution out there in the world. There's lots of different solutions, but the fact that these people that I'm talking about specifically, the fact that they are, years or months later are still stuck because they're afraid to jump, okay? And for some reason, our program is the one that they want to do, but for some reason they're afraid to make that commitment, and a lot of them, the reason they're afraid to make that commitment is because they're afraid to fail, right? So instead of facing the likelihood or the chance that they will fail, they just don't try, and they stay in their comfort zone because, what's the point? If I can't lose weight, I'll just stay here, right? I'll just find a way to be content with where I'm at, which is what a lot of people do. Instead of actually making the change and putting in the effort and the commitment and the investment, they just choose to stay the same because it's frankly just an easier decision, right? It's an easier path to walk, right? And I think about even friends and people who have they have wanted to achieve something. They've wanted to start a business. They've wanted to do whatever it is, right? And they have all these ideas and they have all of these plans and whatever, but ultimately they don't. They don't, because they're afraid of failure. They're afraid of what other people will think. They're afraid of whatever. But because they never step to the plate, they don't ever hit a home run either, right? And I mean, baseball is a game of averages, and if you hit the ball 30% of the time, you're doing a pretty darn good job, right? That's a really good batting average. And I think in business and in health and in all of these things that are really, really important, dating, relationships, all of the big, if there were 3 big things in our lives, right? It's health, wealth, and relationships. Those 3 things are very important to us, and they kind of they drive everything, right? So in health, every program you try, or everything you try to make a change isn't necessarily going to work, but you only need one to work, right? Really, you only need one. And so you may have tried keto and Optavia and all of these other ones, and they may have worked, but they obviously didn't work long term. Otherwise, you wouldn't be you wouldn't be back to where you were when you started, or you wouldn't be stuck, right? But you only need one to work, right? You only need one home run. And so it's just finding that one home run and being willing to keep trying until you find it, right? If someone had told me, like, if obviously I have like knowledge and experience and stuff like that backing up why I do what I do in fitness and nutrition. But if someone were to tell me that the only way to lose weight or the only way to achieve my fitness goals was to cut out carbs and run 4 miles a day, I would have failed, because that sounds miserable for Kayla, right? But I found something else that works and I just stick with it, right? Once you figure out the swing, once you figure out how to step to the plate and hit and like be consistent and keep your average, right? Then you just do it. And then in wealth, like same thing. If you're trying to build a business, like you just have to keep trying things until it sticks. And then all of a sudden you're in momentum, you're in the flow, and you're doing great. And then with relationships, like how many people do you actually have to date before you find the one? Usually quite a few. Very few people like hit, they marry their high school sweetheart and and last 100 years. Like it's a rarity. It's not a common thing, right? And so like, but a lot of people aren't even willing to go and date at all because they're afraid of failure, right? So there's a quote by Babe Ruth, and it's like, it's actually on my desk when I have a desk. We're moving, and so everything's in is a little crazy right now. But it says, never let the fear of striking out keep you from playing the game. And a lot of people let it keep them from trying. And it's hard to see people struggle with the same thing year in and year out because of the fear of failure. Because if they actually put in 100% effort, they may actually hit the home run, right? If they put in the reps and they put in the T work and they put in the fundamentals and they did the things consistently, they would hit the home run. But most people aren't even willing to do it. And so, long story short, the whole premise of this video is you can't get mad. You can't, if you want to hit home runs, you have to step up to the plate and you have to get over that fear of the potential that you may fail at that particular thing. What's funny about health like is there's not really a failure. It's just like, well, that didn't work. There's no failure. There's just quitting, and that would be a failure. So it's really just keeping on the path so that you don't quit. So it's finding the path that's simple enough for you to stick with it and sustainable enough for you to stick with it without burning you out and keeping you moving towards your goal, right? Anyway, hopefully that's just valuable. And don't let the fear of failure get in the way. Because there's only 100% way, or there's only one guaranteed way to never hit a home run, and it's to never, ever step up to bat.